England get the job done over Ireland, 24 points to 12. Definitely a game of two halves. If you're an England fan, you would have enjoyed that first half immensely. If you're an Ireland or Johnny Sexton fan, first half not so much. Second half did get a bit better for Ireland, but still over the course of this game, England a better team and a deserved win for them at home. I'll go through some of the key events of the game, some of the stats and whatnot, and you guys, as always, can let me know your thoughts. So, a furious start from England, and it's kind of what they're known for under Eddie Jones is just starting really fast, looking to try and score points early, putting kicks through, making the back three of the opposition have trouble, and that's kind of how it went. This one, they did knock on, did England. Laws knocked it on after going through quite a few phases. It was CJ Stander in the tackle, and I think England targeted him a wee bit in this game as well. But the initial let off for Ireland, but they wouldn't maintain that for long because on 8 minutes, Ford he got the try. It was Youngs who put the kick through. Sexton mishandled it in the goal area, and Ford was there to pounce on it. It was a bit of a clanger. But pressure will do that sometimes. It was 7-0. 12 minutes England did have to play in their own half. They spent the most of the first half down the other end, but they had to defend. Ireland had advantage. They put a cross kick through, but no luck under advantage, so they decided to take the shot at goal. And Sexton, man, he shanked it. It was pretty bad. He definitely had trouble with the kicking tonight. I mean, it wasn't just unique to him. I mean, not long later, Ford at one point was, I guess, shaping to do a cross kick, and he ended up just kicking it backwards. Like, it ended up closer to his own goal line, so England kind of had to scramble. So it definitely wasn't a perfect night from England either, but there were some kind of odd moments. The first scrum penalty went England's way. Farrell, who wasn't having any trouble with the boot, he put his touch finder like 5 meters out. But from that line out, Itoje knocked it on. So yeah, again, sometimes the clinical edge was lacking in England, to be fair. Will maybe rue some of those chances by the end of the game in terms of not being able to get a bonus point, but they did get the win. 23 minutes, the 5 metre line out, they had another attempt. Ireland managed to stop their maul, but on 25 minutes, Daly managed to go over for a try. It was another kick through. This time it was Stockdale. Couldn't secure the ball in his own goal area, and Daly managed to put the ball down. He had an incredible piece of skill, just one-handed on the move. He made it look really easy, but that's a proper bit of skill, and it was 14 points to 0. Unfortunately for Ireland, Cian Healy went off. Johnny Sexton lost his boot. Murray had a pretty ordinary box kick, and then Daly just put acres of space on it. Like, he kicked into acres of space. He kicked a huge kick back, so it was all England at that point. The momentum was about as one way as it gets. I wrote in my notes, all capitals, all England. And yeah, Ireland, when they would get the ball, they would just keep going backwards. So yeah, it was tough. 39 minutes, England did kick a penalty to make it 17-0 at halftime. But like I mentioned, it probably should have been more because it was very dominant. Look at the stats. Possession, England 55%. Territory, England 67%. Ireland have somehow managed, with less possession, to have double the knock-ons of England, 8-4. Run meters are 126 to 59. Tackling percentage for England is 94. Even Ireland at 88, so solid, but they've still conceded 2 tries, again, from those 2 kicks through, which, if you're an Irish fan, you look at and go, if not for our own errors, maybe we would have escaped those. So potentially they could have, not have conceded a try in the first half, if not for their own errors. So yeah, you can look at it both ways. Second half, Farrell gets penalised for holding on to CJ Stander's leg at the breakdown. He wouldn't let him get out of it. Stander did kind of, I wouldn't call it a punch. He put his hand on Farrell to kind of get him off, and I think it was sensible refereeing to say, you started it, so you're getting penalised. And it was unfortunate for England because from that kind of silly penalty, and it wasn't like Itoje at one point was not letting Stander go. This is what I'm talking about maybe Stander being targeted because he's been man of the match in his previous 2 games. Yeah, silly penalty for England to concede, and then Ireland go through loads of phases. They get advantage. They opt for a scrum because they're already 17-0 down, and it's from there that Henshaw manages to get the try. He sneaks through between Curry and Farrell. He just goes low and goes between them. It's a good try. And they miss the conversion. It's another poor kick, and it's 17 points to 5. Not that long later, Cooney comes on, and that was probably a good move because I think it was mainly for the goal kicking because Sexton was not striking it nicely. Maybe you don't want to sub your captain, but you want to bring someone else on to help out with the kicks. So Cooney's a kind of good option there. And it was good to see Cooney get some minutes, to be fair, because he's been a form player for Ireland, at least for Ulster anyway. Tuilagi got a try, but it was from a forward tip for him. And I think it was Stockdale kind of played it out. Tuilagi had a big smile on his face, so I'm pretty sure he knew it wasn't going to count, but he kept playing anyway. Cooney early, I thought, was adding some pace, I guess, to Ireland's attack, but it still definitely wasn't one way because Cowan-Dickey got the next try. It was from a maul. All the backs got in there, and there was no stopping it. 24 points to 5. May at one point disrupted Cooney. He went down the right wing. Some people would say he was offside to get there. Other people will say Henshaw's tackle on May was an illegal hit. Didn't use his arms, or maybe it was late. It's one of those kind of controversial ones. You can look at it both ways. But either way, nothing was coming from it. And the game went on. Eventually, you could feel maybe it's because England's line speed was so good, it was starting to take its toll by the end of the game. Or maybe Ireland were just coming into the game with the likes of Cooney and Doris and whatnot coming out, injecting a bit more energy into the game. But Ireland were actually finding some space in the final kind of 15 minutes. They tried a cross kick to Armani. That didn't work. It was not quite on. And well, the move was on, but the kick wasn't quite accurate enough. And Armani's probably not the guy you want out there on the wing. They get a maul. England's maul defence is very good. But eventually, after 80 minutes, Ireland do get their second try through Porter. They go heaps of phases, and eventually he just goes over. Cooney kicks the conversion. It's a very good kick, and it's 24-12. That's the way it finishes. So yeah, England did all the hard work early. I think, like I said, they'll be disappointed that they didn't score more points, especially in that first half when they had all the play. Ireland will be really disappointed with that result, especially in the first 2 tries they conceded, essentially being their own guys not able to tidy up the ball. But again, that was just the pressure England were putting on. It's interesting if you read the final stats. The possession actually went Ireland's way, 61% in territory, Ireland 59%, because second half they had 76% possession and 79% territory. Didn't feel like that at times, but that's the way it was. Run meters 202 England, 234 Ireland. So Ireland really did manage to come back to it, especially in that second half. But yeah, England's defence was on point. Both sides actually 92% tackles, but England made 175 to Ireland's 97. So England conceded more penalties, 12-7. You felt like their scrum was probably getting a wee bit of the edge. But in terms of penalties conceded, I think both scrums conceded 2, so that kind of evened out. There weren't like a whole bunch of clean breaks. I think England had 3, Ireland had 2, so it wasn't that kind of game. I mean, when you got both sides tackling at 92%, you're not going to get a whole bunch of clean breaks, and it was often the kicks that were the difference. May had 40 run meters, which was the highest of the game, which is pretty low in the scheme of things. For Ireland, Stockdale had 32. He probably got most of those at the end. And Cooney had 32 run meters, so equal highest, even though he was a sub. Maybe he needs to start. Be good to see him get a start. Tackles, Underhill had 21 out of 25. Stander had 12 from 12. So yeah, busy guy again. Like I mentioned, the line speed from England caused lots of problems. The kicks found space, but there was space for Ireland at the end. Doris, Cooney, Stockdale, I thought were good at the end of the game. but it was already probably too late by that point. First time in this game that I've seen a penalty. England had a penalty advantage. They went up the field and they went so far the ref was just like, all right, advantage over. You hardly ever see that these days. If it's a penalty, they always come back for the penalty. Itoje at one point blocked Murray's box kick. He got turnovers. Kind of key man again, even if he does rub some people up the wrong way. Aki at one point got a turnover. Later on, he got penalised for another turnover. It was his penalty that got the advantage over on it. But I don't know. He's also a threat at the breakdown when he's over the ball. May at one point took Stockdale in the air, and Stockdale didn't like that. But again, Henshaw on May, it all kinds of evens out. So yeah, Daly had a pretty bloody good game. England, 24-12. That's the game. England have got Wales in a couple of weeks at home. Ireland also at home. And they are going to play Italy. So, yeah, if you can't tell, it's pretty early in the morning here. Game started at 4 o'clock. So, it is now 20 past 6. I'm going to go have a coffee, get the kids up, do all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, pretty entertaining game if you are going to get up at 4 o'clock. It's nice to see 5 tries. Good win for England. No bonus point. Again, I'm harping on about it. You never know. It might be important at the end of the competition. Ireland not close enough to get a bonus point, but I guess a nice little try at the end to kind of save some face, but ultimately not good enough today. So, yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on the game. How did you think it went? Do you think both these sides still have a chance if France drops a game? Still plenty to play for both sides. They're not dead and buried as yet. Twickenham looks like a pretty tough place to go, as always. And, yeah, Italy have got a tough job ahead of them. But, yeah, if you are interested in getting yourself an England jersey or even an Ireland jersey, England Rugby Store have got those on sale. I'll put a link in the description and use the code 2cents10. You get extra 10% off. So, happy days. All right, guys. I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.